Okay, so this is not really a planner review. This is becoming what I'm calling a momentum archive. And honestly, I think this might end up being one of the most meaningful systems I've used in a really long time. Because this isn't about productivity perfection, it's about having a place to actually see your life moving forward. So I've actually been thinking about getting this A5 Creffective weekly notebook since January of this year. This is the 2026 version, and I specifically wanted something different from my normal planning system. I still use a vertical weekly for actual scheduling because that's how my brain works, but I wanted something that felt more reflective, more visual, more like documenting momentum while building a new chapter of life. So, what my momentum archive is, I think a lot of us move forward without realizing how far we've already come. We focus on what's missing, what's unfinished, and what still needs fixing. And we completely forget to document progress, growth, consistency, lessons, wins, breakthroughs, and movement. So, this isn't really about planning every hour of my life. It's more like a visual archive of growth and momentum. So, let me take you through the planner and I'll tell you who I think this could work for. So, the reason I love this one since it came out really is the nice soft cover, the beautiful marshmallow natural cream 105 GSM fountain pen friendly paper. And I went with the navy blue. I absolutely love it. Now, I tend to lean towards A5, even though I've tried many different planner sizes. And I love the Monday start for this, along with the fact that it's got note pages at the back, and I'll take you through it really briefly here. So there's an annual layout here, which I mean, it would be great for circling certain things, tracking events, highlights, trips. Then there's a 2-page spread of 6 months and another 2-page spread of the second half of the year. So, what I thought this would be really great for is uh, really, initially, I wasn't sure, but now I think this could be amazing for tracking larger patterns throughout the year. So, for example, if you're tracking consistency, uploads, movement, habits, milestones, launches, maybe a health tracker, workouts, language learning, if I'm keeping up with my daily Korean, which I have been, creative projects, momentum, and streaks. Also see this as zooming out and looking at your entire year visually instead of only focusing on daily tasks. Now, after this spread, there's another breakdown of very similar where you've got more pages, more room to write with the columns. So this is another different version of it. So you're not limited to pre-numbered boxes. This could be notes along the way. Now, as I was saying, who I think this could work for. If you're a creator, a solopreneur, an independent sales rep, building a business, learning a language, if you're rebuilding routines, tracking habits, developing better habits, or really documenting any personal transformation, or really becoming more intentional, I think something like this could become really meaningful over time. So, after the year at a glance, we've got the monthlies. And after every month, there's the weekly. So if you like that breakdown of having everything together, this is a good book for that. It lies flat, which I absolutely love. And the paper really feels clean and simple without being overwhelming. So going into the monthly pages, this layout is actually one of my favorite parts. I'm probably not going to use this as a traditional appointment calendar because, again, this is for archives and not as my regular planner. But what I'm going to use this for is it'll become more like a monthly highlight, breakthroughs, lessons, synchronicities, wins, really meaningful moments, and evidence of progress. Now, after the monthly pages, we've got our weekly spread. And this is what I really liked about it because if we compare it to this is 2024 Sterling Ink Common Planner. So this is the same size as the Hobonichi Weeks, and I have one beside me I'll show you as well. So it really looks like a Weeks, but it has the full A5. So you've got the extra writing space if you like a little more paper. And even looking at horizontally, comparing it, you've got a little more space, and also the squares are larger. So it's a larger grid size, so I find it easier to write for me. But so you've got that similar layout. The beautiful part as well is you've got the boxes gridded on both the left-hand side and the right-hand side. So I'll touch on that again in a moment. But here's a comparison of a Hobonichi Weeks. And so again, you've got a lot more space. You don't have the quote at the bottom. You've got the gridded days, which can help with writing if you prefer that. So it really gives you that weeks, if you're a lover of the weeks layout, but with additional space. And this is what I really like here. So, and I'm going to use this area differently as well, because there's priority as well as to do. But priorities really, they're going to be the things that matter most in this season of life. So not necessarily a weekly priority. And then on the to-dos, this might be where I'll put some actual tactical action steps that I intend for the week, or maybe that I've already achieved. So for example, priorities might be health, movement, creativity, consistency, maybe learning, business growth, or content creation tracking. Where the to-do part, this is where I make note of filming a video or editing, uploads, sending emails, client follow-ups, maybe gym errands, admin tasks. So anything along those lines. Now, I mentioned that this is my favorite part because what I love about the horizontal weeklies is I can see the rhythm of my week. And this would be a great place where I'll be putting reflections, wins, momentum, ideas, lessons, energy shifts, growth, memories. This will feel less like strict productivity and more like documenting life while building something meaningful. Now, I also really like the sections because what you could do with this is, again, tracking different things. You can divide this into morning, afternoon, and even evening if you want to use that far right column. Or just save this right grid section for ideas, movement, mindset, content, habits, wins, or even a gratitude section, learning, health, business, creativity. This is where I think the patterns would really become visible over time. And then at the back, there are 66, I think, notes pages. And so they're fully blank, gridded on both sides. And this is what I really think makes this a bit of a hybrid planner, journal, life archive, and really a creative operating system. So I may put project notes in here, ideas, reflections, tracking, creative brainstorm, and life lessons, and some memory keeping. So yeah, I don't think this really is about finding the perfect planner anymore. This will become my momentum archive that I will refer back to over the years. And it's a place to look back and remember what I was building, what I was learning, what changed, what mattered, and how far I actually came. And honestly, I think a lot more of us need that.